Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. For those that are not familiar with who it is that I am, we do run the largest YouTube channel for those who invest in the stock market. We have a little bit over 500,000. We'd love to stay connected. If you guys want to subscribe, great. We also do run the largest private free Facebook group with nearly 200,000 members. That's that first link in the description. So I just want to let you know that that is an option you have of joining, again, 100% for free. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do this thing. So what I'm going to do is what we do every single Sunday is in preparation for the overall week, because again, we go through a lot of different things during the weekend. To just make sure that we're back on track is we come together every single Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we talk about the top stocks that our group sees value in. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing as of right now. And I'm going to start, getting straight to it. So we have already a couple people sharing in the ticker call out format. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Learn Plan Profit section. We have a couple people that called out a couple different stocks, and that's going to be something that I'm going to want to talk about very quickly. So it's going to be the top stock, one per person, right? So CDXS. All right, here we go. So, and I'm also going to be talking about a couple different things that we experienced last week. A very big mover and something that a lot of people talked about, if I'm not mistaken, is BPTH. And if you guys did not see how it closed on Friday, it closed on the day down 30%. But based on the movement that it experienced, it went from like $20 all the way up to, or it hit highs of like $72 or $73, and then came all the way back down to sub 20, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check. But I think it's something very interesting just to follow up with, to see why it's so important to not necessarily, especially if you don't feel up to par, to participate in those like pump and dumps. Like, yes, you can make money, but you could also lose a ton. And we just don't want to have you discourage yourself, right? So this is going to be the first one that we talk about based off of one of our members' callouts. So this is CDXS. And we can see that right now it is downtrending. It is below the overall EMA line. So we're getting a lot of consolidation right around this SMA line and this EMA line. So it makes sense based off previous patterns. It normally does go below the SMA line, so it might have a little bit more margin for it to sell off. There's no indication of an uptrend. So again, when it comes down to like making money or something is showing signs of growth, we normally see higher highs, right? And then, higher lows form. So when it pulls back, it doesn't go as low as it did before, and it shows signs of this uptrend pattern. Again, if you want to grow your account, then you should invest in patterns that are showing signs of growth. It's that simple. And as of right now, yes, like CDXS is showing signs of consolidation, which is a potential support. But as of right now, it's not showing any indication of an uptrend. So that's exactly what I'm going to kind of like look out for. I actually have the group chat right here as well. And I just want to make sure that I can see your guys' messages again. But yeah, that's going to be the first one. I'm just going to do like 3 more of these, and then I'm going to break these down later as well. So CSIQ. CSIQ, here we go. Okay, so based off previous patterns, again, it was showing signs of an uptrend pattern. It did a really nice job with the overall SMA line, indicating signs of an uptrend pattern. I like the MACD on this. I like the RSI. It pulled back quite a bit, but again, just there's no indication of an uptrend pattern just yet. So it is downtrending. It is selling off, and the more that it sells off, the more margin of profit, right, that we have the potential to make. But we need to make sure that, again, if we want to grow our accounts, it's much easier to do that when we invest in patterns that are showing signs of growth. And that's just not necessarily the case right now for CSIQ. I would say that this one would be something that I would watch closely, but not necessarily trade as of right now, like for this week, just because there's no indication of an uptrend. All right, let me do one more here. Let's do HTZ. So HTZ, here we go. All right, so same thing going on over here. I like these just because, again, I see a lot of you guys looking at the RSI. I see a lot of you guys are looking at the MACD and waiting for that overall reversal. It looks like they've been selling off for quite some time. But again, the most important part, the reason that we have these Sunday stock talks are for, like, again, me breaking them down are completely like, it's irrelevant to like your trading. But what I like would use this kind of like Sunday stock talk for, or just a Sunday in general, like forget about my video, is to, again, like you have a series of opportunities that are presenting themselves this week, and which opportunities are a good deal, showing signs of an uptrend right now, and the margin of profit is worth it, right? Like, yes, I like HTZ because it does have a lot of margin for potential recovery, but as of right now, it's, you know, still selling off. The EMA line is still pointing down, and stuff like that. So that's why, again, I would just be a little bit more like at ease to trade anything like this when it's way too early to identify what direction it's actually going to be going, because we don't know if it's actually going to bounce here, or based off previous patterns, it's sold off before to $14, and I don't want to buy here and hope that it goes up and actually it drop another 12, you know, maybe another 16, 17%, especially when there's no proper indication. I think that's a very, and again, I've been there, I've done that, and I know maybe some of you guys can relate, where we try to, you know, based off of the RSI and based off of the MACD, we're like, oh man, this thing cannot go any lower, I'm going to start buying here when there's no indication of an uptrend. But guess what? It continues to sell off, and that's exactly what we want to avoid. I want to make sure that you guys avoid any of the mistakes that like I've made before, by me simply just talking about them. For those that actually take the, you know, they're not like suggestions or anything like that. They're just a series of best practices of, I find it to be much easier to make money in the market when I invest in patterns or trade patterns that are showing signs of growth. So let's go ahead, and thank you guys again for being so patient in the actual live chat for this video. So let's go ahead and start breaking down stocks. Just make sure that they're in the ticker call out format like this. So thank you again, Joey. So Amazon, this is going to be the next one. Here we go. So I want to break this one down with you guys though. So Amazon was showing signs of a very consistent uptrend pattern, right? Due to overall the market selling off, Amazon began to sell off as well, right? Began to show signs of a downtrend pattern. What do you see now? I feel like we're seeing a lot of consolidation, almost like a horizontal pattern, right? Overall high points, right around that $1,700 price point, and overall low points right around $1,600, based off of previous patterns. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I kind of see going on right now. So I saw the SMA line pointing down, and then it began to kind of like flatline, right, with this SMA line and also this overall pattern as well. Here we go. So yeah, I just wanted to see what you know you thought of this. And yes, it does make sense. Like the MACD makes sense, the RSI makes sense on why it's, you know, it can find a support right around 1600. But what's the thing that we have to wait out for? Right? Confirmation. So let's just set our alerts for when this thing breaks above the overall EMA line, and then also set an alert as it gets closer to the previous resistance of 1700. And then we just ask ourselves, is the margin of profit worth it? If it is, great. If not, then again, don't do it. But yeah, that's really just it. Maybe a day trade, but could break below 100%. Yeah. So if you see day trade opportunity, I wouldn't really say, especially right now, that there would probably be day trade opportunity unless, you know, 1% is essentially what you're aiming for. It's Amazon, right? It's been moving a little bit more than usual, but you know, this took like 3-4 days for it to sell off, and this margin is 4% or 5-6%. So again, it's not a very aggressive or volatile company, but it's something that can definitely make you money, especially if, you know, you wait for the proper entries. We've talked about it multiple times, and please take this to heart this week, and just think about it a little bit. You make all your money when you buy your stock. So again, like if you set yourself up for success and you wait for the proper entry point, direction is in your favor, the opportunity cost, which means the margin of profit, and then the overall pattern is something that you understand and make sense of, then it's, you know, the entry point. Because the selling, like when it comes down to like selling the stock, that's the easy part. Knowing when to buy, that's the difficult part. Because again, you just want to make sure that there's these series of different factors that are going in your favor. So let's go ahead and break down the next one. So the next one is HBAN. What's going on, Brandon Lee? Okay, so as of right now, the overall SMA line is showing signs. It was showing signs of a downtrend pattern, and as of right now, yeah, it showed some signs of like a peak formation. So let's see. Let me just. Yeah, it showed signs of a peak formation around 14.45, or 14.47, and then it began to downtrend. Yeah, as of right now, I just again the RSI, the MACD. Yes, it makes sense on why looking at how it's been doing the progression at the rate that it's selling off. Yeah, and it's just something that I just don't know if it's clear enough. The direction is clear enough. So again, I would identify the resistance to be right around 1450. I would like to wait for this thing to break above. That's why I set my alert for the break above the overall EMA line. I don't want it to downtrend anymore. I want it to point up, right? So like this was clear when it was showing signs of an uptrend. But as of right now, it's just not there. The EMA line is still pointing down, so I would wait out for that. And then the thing I would ask yourself is the margin of profit worth it? If it is, great. If it's not, then simply don't trade it. I do see a couple people commenting about well, there's one person that I saw that they don't like the stocks that are being talked about. Again, I'm breaking them down based off of our members' callouts, and I don't think it's. I mean, everyone's learning at different like levels and has been trading for different just time. So just please be respectful to other people as they should have, I think, such a the same opportunities that anybody that does well, right? This is the whole point of these videos, is for us to break down stocks together, and for maybe to identify some areas of opportunity that they can improve in. So okay, so AMD as of right now, it pulled back very close to or near to the overall SMA line, which is this green line right here, where it normally bounces at. Again, EMA line is still pointing down. That's why I set all these alerts right here. We need the direction to change. So that's pretty much what I'm going to leave it at. Next one is going to be CAG. Here we go. Again, very aggressive descending pattern. So it looks like it tried to recover, got rejected. It's been getting rejected by the overall SMA line. This one's just downtrending too aggressively, and it has an up and coming earnings report. And based off of its previous earnings, it has not gone in its favor. Every time that it has its earnings, it sells off very aggressively. So it's not gonna, based off previous patterns, it probably won't look too good for CAG. So I would personally just stay away. Here we go. So ticker symbol KO. Well, I see some people calling out ticker symbol LOCO, but again, it's not in the ticker call format. I'll break it down for you guys just because I really like that stock. And I think it has been pulling back a little bit. So here we go. Overall, based off previous patterns, yes, we're at low points, but just the direction is not in our favor. Overall SMA line, which I like to use for, a pretty good indication of what's trending up and what's trending down, is if you were to put an arrow at the very end of this SMA line, it's trending down as of right now, right? So yes, based off previous patterns, like this is a pretty low price point, but the direction is not showing signs of an uptrend. So again, this could be something that I could see someone day trade to the resistance at $46. But again, the margin of profit is like 3%. And out of everything that's out there, is this really the top stock that you see value in, right? Maybe you need to dedicate a little bit more time to go through the group alerts if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, or go through the watch list sections if you're part of TechBot Solutions, and see what other stocks people are talking about, and not trade them, but just break them down, right? I think you learn a lot by breaking down other people's stocks, and maybe try to identify why they see value or maybe why they don't and stuff like that. But in your own trading style. So the next one, just because I said I would, it's going to be the ticker symbol LOCO. This is Pollo Loco, had a huge sell-off due to its earnings, built a really nice gap, and completely broke its pattern though. The overall, previous pattern that it had. A lot of you guys sometimes ask, Ricky, what do you mean by there was a break of pattern, or how is it that you knew when to cut losses? So let's say I was someone that was swing trading this, right? Normally bounces off the SMA line. Do you guys see this? Right here, right here, right here, right here. So it makes sense on why it can. So when it was approaching this SMA line, I remember a week or two ago that we're okay, this is something that I would have on high alert, as in I set my alerts here for the break above $16. I wanted this thing to start trending up. And it's so important to like make sure you understand that, okay, if there's a pattern that we were trading that we saw value in, and then all of a sudden it breaks below the SMA line and then begins to aggressively like sell off and then has an up and coming earnings, and then that does not go according to plan. So I would look into what caused this negative catalyst within its earnings, because I think it's just really important. Like, is the news that was released right during this earnings report something that was so detrimental to the company that it won't be able to recover, or is this something that we could potentially dip by? And I think that's like, again, where you can make either a lot of money or understand to completely stay away from LOCO, is when you understand what is actually going on and what caused this huge sell-off. So I would kind of go from there. Here we go, TECK. Overall downtrend, right? Tried changing its direction, so now we're with the SMA line. It's trying to starting to point up. One of the things that I do see is, it tried to show signs of an uptrend. It broke above the EMA line for one day and then got rejected. So the MACD peaked out. So did the RSI and stuff like that. So again, it pulled back. Now we don't really know where we're going. Is it still going to start trending down, or is it going to find a support here as well? Something we have to kind of wait out for. So I'm going to set my alert there. I'm going to set another alert there. And then again, just kind of go from there. And sorry, I keep coughing. I still have a little bit of a cough. Here we go. So all right. Here we go. So I like this one. Can you guys see why I would like something like this? Can you guys like break it down? Do you guys see why I would see value in something like this? Overall, SMA line showing signs of very consistent uptrend pattern, making higher highs, making higher lows, uptrending, right? I think it's easier to kind of like see where to maybe enter this, right? To be able to buy, which then you can sell. Same thing here. It doesn't mean that you have to like maximize every trade. That's like never my goal in a sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but based off previous patterns, like let's say none of this happened right here, right? We saw that it got rejected right around the 52.50 price point. So we can draw a resistance line there, and then when it sells off, and then when it sells off and then begins to consolidate and then breaks above the EMA line and then the direction is clear, I can give it time. I can simply day trade it, or if you see value in it for a swing trade, then great. You can calculate the margin of profit. It's still 10% after you miss out on all this, which is fine, again, because you want to feel comfortable with your trade. So the same thing is kind of going on here. Now we broke below the SMA line just like we have before, and now we see it consolidating, right? So it's no longer really selling off. It built a support right around that $45 price point, built a resistance right around that $47.50 price point, and now we just set our alerts. We set our series of alerts. The MACD is already peaking out, so I don't think it's going to push up like anytime soon. So it probably isn't going to be something that I'm going to want to trade this week, but it doesn't mean that I can't set myself up for success, right? That I, set my alerts on this. I can write it down on my notepad if you guys have something that you guys keep next to your little trading area. Like, stay organized, understand kind of like these can be viewed as like leads, right? For those people that are in sales-based jobs, something that you could follow up with maybe when it's either your alert gets triggered or when you want to give it a little bit more time for it to identify its direction and stuff like that. So TLRY, Josh, I'm just going to be completely honest. This was 100% known as a pump and dump. It's been selling off ever since. I would just not want to be a part of this, and I would completely stay away from it. So yes, it did sell off, and yes, you can make money off of it. This is just not my trading style. This is very similar to the one that just happened, the BPTH, which I know that a lot of you guys want me to talk about. So we can go to BPTH, and it pulled back to $21. So it lost about 50% of its account value. And I made a video the moment that it was pushing up where it broke 500%. And this is just like a perfect example of where those that are knowledgeable can make a lot of money, right? Because of the momentum, and it's still extremely risky, right? You guys all are aware of that. Like BPTH got halted multiple times as it continued to push up, which means that you can't buy or sell because they literally paused the trading on BPTH. So when it pushed up to 73.50, again, the mentality for a lot of newer traders is I'm just going to hold this and I don't know where I'm going to sell. I'm just making a ton of money right now, and due to FOMO and due to not really understanding what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm going to sell. Like that's usually what a newer trader would kind of like assume or think. So when it has these huge pushes and then peaks out and then begins to pull back, then they get scared and they're like, oh no, it's going to come back up, and then continues to sell off, right? And then continues to sell off. And then for someone that bought way up here thinking that it was going to continue to uptrend, now you're down 62% in your account. So although yes, you can make a lot of money, one of the things that you want to ask yourself is, is this something that like I'm ready for? I think a way that you can think about it is, when it comes down to like playing like Major League Baseball, like let's say you can pay a ton of money to play baseball with a bunch of other professional baseball players, but you're someone that literally just got started. Do you think it would be worth the investment to do that? Probably not, because you're just not there yet. It doesn't mean you can't get there and you won't eventually be there, but just understanding and being like sane and saying like, yeah, I'm just probably not someone that can take advantage of these opportunities just yet, but it's something that I can work on. We have a lot of people that are very successful in momentum trading, and that all they do is chase pump and ups. A lot of like YouTuber traders, like that's all they trade. For me, it's a little bit too risky, and that's why I don't do it. I don't want to discourage you to not do it. I just want you to understand the risk, and I hope that you guys understand that's the whole premise of like there's so many talented people on YouTube with different trading styles, and some people resonate very well with the material and that style of trading, but some people just absolutely do not do well with momentum trading. So I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of both sides. And for those that say, oh, this style of trading is better, or this style of trading is best, or he's the best for this, I feel like everyone has their own like niche within the market. And if you do well within that niche and you excel, then great, all power to you. But don't say that it's any better than anybody else's trading style, because just because it works well for you doesn't mean that it necessarily has to work well for other people, and vice versa, right? And you'll see this, like if you make a friend through any trading group or any course group or anything like that, you will see that you might start off with the same trading style, but you'll slowly begin to refine your trading style. And a year, 2 years, 3 years from when you first started, as long as you continue, you'll see that you can almost become completely different traders, and have a completely different focus in the market. And that should be something that you should be empowered by, to be unique, and that your trading best practices are unique as well. So sorry for that little tangent. Let's go ahead and break down JNUG for you. This is actually something that I was looking at already. So if you look at JNUG, but then also look at /GC, you could see that /GC is already, it broke below the SMA line. So it opened on Sunday, right around 3 to 4 p.m. and then began to sell off. So as of right now, yes, it built a support. So right now, JNUG would open up in the red if this were to hold. And it looks like it kind of peaked out. So I'd be on kind of like high alert to maybe be seeing signs of like a peak formation on JNUG, especially because it's been having like very consistent green days, right? 20-day analysis, we could see that this can definitely be an area where it can get rejected by, right, the overall SMA line. We don't know if it's going to push above it. We don't know if it's going to pull back and break below it. We just have to wait and kind of see. One of the biggest focuses that I like to have is direction, and I think it's very easy, like when you understand the direction of a future or something like that, right, and how that correlates on over to the ETF, it makes it a lot easier for me and makes me feel a lot more comfortable to understand what it is that I'm trading. A perfect example is how many of you guys saw my video on Friday. It was like 2 minutes long, and I talked about, all I focused on was direction, and all I was trading was ticker symbol DGAS. I wish in my honest opinion, if you're someone that's just getting started, you should only trade on days that you feel extremely comfortable in. And DGAS did a beautiful job trading in between the middle and top VWAP. I kept you guys up to date with my profits. I ended the day a little bit over $720 profit, but it all had to do with direction. The direction was in my favor, so I know that I trade off of the VWAP indicator, so I could understand the low points, the high points, the low points, the high points, the low points, the high points, and it continued to push up during aftermarket hours, and made new highs. So I think, again, like when you have direction in your favor, which I think you always should, and again, that's a preference, it makes it a lot easier for you to make money and for you to feel comfortable with your trading the entire time. So yeah, here we go. I'm going to do two more and then we're going to call it a day. QLYS. Alrighty, so we're getting a lot of consolidation right now. Again, no signs of an uptrend pattern, so I'm going to set my alert here. It's trying to bounce off or hold above this overall SMA line. Again, I want to see this thing start to trend up, and we just are not getting that right now. So yes, you can try to capitalize on this 2% margin. I don't see the opportunity cost to be worth it. So that's why I set my alert here, and I can set another alert for when it actually begins to make higher highs and stuff like that. Had a 50% month swing trade this past month. You're the man. Keep it up. Royce, 100%, like, congratulations. I hope that you guys like that. I think that's the goal, like, at least for me, is day trading is super cool. I think, I was in Rocky Point, Mexico on Friday. We got there Thursday, and it's such a blessing, like, to be able to be anywhere, like, in the world, and to be able to make money. But the thing that you guys have to understand is the traveling is completely irrelevant to making money, right? You have to have that skill set to then one day be able to make, even if you could make it. We have a lot of people that like love to travel, and a lot of people that are part of Learn Plan Profit that even if they make about the same of what they're making at their normal job, like $3,000 to $6,000 a month from trading, they would cut it down to $3,000 to $4,000 a month just so they have the luxury of being able to trade from anywhere, right? Like maybe they want to travel the world with their significant other and they're amazing deal hunters for flights and hotels, and they just want the luxury of being able to trade from anywhere. I think that's amazing, and that's a great goal to have. But I want you guys to know, just like I've said multiple times, like, yes, it's cool to be able to like trade from anywhere, and it's very glorified when the people say like, oh, like Wi-Fi money and all that, like very like social media based type of like marketing. I hope you guys know that the location is irrelevant to your success. It's once you get to a point, and this comes with like any business, right? If you're successful in drop shipping, if you're successful in just starting a business or whatever it is that you have a passion for, that the location is completely irrelevant. But if you have a skill set in which you can utilize from at like your office, right, with your laptop or your phone, and once you get to a point where you can refine your trading strategy or refine those series of best practices, then you can then have the luxury of being able to do it from anywhere around the world. So although that's a huge motivation for a lot of people, just please understand that, again, like the thing that has to come first is the skill set to be able to like understand patterns, or right, or the skill set to be able to actually profit yourself, and not based off other people's alerts or not based off of other people's opinions. And that's something that, like, again, like I try my best to keep very close to like our credo within Learn Plan Profit is I don't sell alerts, I don't sell call outs, I don't tell people what to trade, because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense on when people are wired differently, that they're going to see value in the same things that I am. Like, that's not how it works. I'd rather work with people to become self-sufficient. And yes, it's more difficult to teach that, but for those that do end up learning it, we have many traders within Learn Plan Profit that literally will only post their profits and don't need to be so involved within the group because they're so self-sufficient already. And I think that's the amazing thing about this, is for those that actually know like what they should be doing, is you can use these groups for like empowerment, the resources to learn new things, But once you get to a certain point, you don't need to be so dependent on what everyone else is trading and what I see value in. It's great to kind of just get the ball rolling, but the goal, and I hope you guys all can agree, is to become self-sufficient, to not rely on stock alerts, and to not rely on other people to tell you what to trade. Because again, you worked really hard for your money, so you want to make sure that it works really hard for you, and you're the only person, right, that can truly decide that. So there's so many videos that you can watch on YouTube. I have over 1,000 that are absolutely for free, and I'm only one YouTube channel. There's so many other talented people out there as well with different trading styles that you can learn from as well. Obviously, there's like the courses that can kind of like act as a catalyst to shorten the time that you might take when it comes down to like watching free videos on YouTube. You'll probably make a little bit more mistakes just from watching videos on YouTube, but it doesn't mean that it's not possible. So you decide, right? What groups you want to be a part of and what groups empower you and do you see value in. So I'm going to do 2 more and then we're going to call it a day. So ticker symbol NIO. Huge pullback. So I like this one. Okay, so it pulled back quite a bit. What's going on actually? Big Rick. What's up? Here we go. So I'm going to set an alert, keeping it very simple. Yes, it's oversold. Yes, it has quite a bit of margin for it to potentially recover. It doesn't mean that it's going to cover all the way back up to like almost $11. But the biggest thing that I want to focus on is direction. And right now, like, yes, it's consolidating, but it doesn't mean that it can't continue to sell off. So I'm just going to set a series of alerts and then follow up with it from then. NVDA. Here we go. As of right now, again, it's still downtrending, so its direction is not clear. So if you see value in this little margin here, the margin is decent. So again, if you see value in that pattern, I see a resistance right around 160 and a support right around or close to or near to the overall SMA line. So it's great. The MACD, the RSI, they all look like it's in your favor. But the biggest thing is its direction is not completely clear on where it's going to be going. Is this thing going to start trending up like this, or is it going to continue to downtrend, right? So as of right now, I would kind of just play it day by day with the little margins that they offer here. And then once the direction is more clear, I would set a series of alerts over here and then kind of go off of that. So I had 0 experience trading, came across your channel in January. I created a Robinhood account and grew at 50% by March 2019. Wow, I appreciate that, man. That's so cool. And congratulations on all your hard work. There was one that I missed that was like BIG, I believe. And I saw you post it multiple times, so I just want to make sure that I break that one down for you. Looks like due to its earnings, this is actually something, so I'm not going to break down any other stocks, but I think this is really important for you guys to know. For those that are new, that might be like, okay, this thing was downtrending, right? It sold off, it pushed up, it's now around the SMA line. It had a huge green day. Is this going to continue? It had its earnings, which is a catalyst that drove either the price up or down. And in this case, it's up. Look at the volume. That demand, right, is not what it normally experiences every single day. So once the hype and once the news of whatever was released that day becomes less relevant, this thing will begin to then pull back and correct itself, right? Because the hype and demand is no longer present. So this is when I would see a pullback and when maybe it's less of a buy and more of a short. Again, I don't know what news was released. Maybe it can continue to drive the price up because the news was so significant, but that's your goal is, yes, you now have this opportunity where it pushed up super aggressively. Is this something that you want to buy or is this something that you want to stay away from? Now your goal should be to figure out what to do. And what caused this price increase? It's earnings. And there's something within the earnings that drove the price up. Figure it out. See if it is something that could be detrimental, or not detrimental, but significant to the overall direction of the company. And if so, great. You have an edge on the market because you know more than the average person. But also, if you see that maybe it's something that's not going to last for a very long period of time and it's going to pull back, then guess what? You can simply stay away. So I wanted to talk about one last one, and that was ticker symbol NG. It's one that we've been watching for quite some time, and I just want you guys to know that we've been watching it since it got really close to or near to the overall SMA line. But as of right now, based on where it closed at on Friday and where it opened at this Sunday, had a huge sell-off. So this is something that could be very exciting, because if this downtrend on /NG from the middle to bottom VWAP continues, and if the progression of the sell-off continues and the direction is there and the pattern is there, then we can trade the inverse ETF, which is DGAS, which is what I did on Friday. I think it's just very important, like regardless if you trade it or not, on how I use the futures to understand the directions of, the ETFs and ETNs, and then trade off of that. So I'm really excited for this week. It looks like there's a lot of companies that ended up selling off due to earnings. Again, just be very selective with your entry points. Just have that idea in mind of making that you make all your money when you first get in and stuff like that. And maybe just be a little bit more selective with what you choose to trade if you just felt like you were over trading last week. So Ricky, based off of your experience in university, would you consider it a definite or indefinite part of your success? I think for me, and I just want you guys to know that I'm going on a tangent right now. So for those that don't want to hear about this, I appreciate your time. I hope you had an amazing and, just Sunday. I hope you guys absolutely kill it this week. And thank you guys again for tuning in. So, so what I wanted to kind of share, I've shared it multiple times, and the reason that I chose to come to Arizona was for my schooling. And there's two sides to this. If I did not make the decision to move from California, right? So for all my people that are from Southern California, Orange County, that's where I grew up. I made the decision to move from, California to Arizona when I was 20 years old for school. And because of that, I also had the intention, because the cost of living was so much less here, that I would move here and then buy a house. And I did 6 months later, about like a week or 2 weeks before I turned 21. So I was 20 years old. I bought my house. It was actually my first video ever on YouTube. And because I bought that house, again, I wasn't making a ton of money, nothing like that. I was doing really well for myself. I was going to school full time. And it was because I made the decision to move out here that once I bought that house, then I bought the house next door, right? I bought my neighbor's house. And then because of that, I went through a couple different things. I started TechButt Solutions and stuff like that. And everything was still like, free. I bought 2 condos later. And because of the people that I was surrounding myself with at ASU and the Polytechnic campus, my 2 first roommates were Joel and Phil. And it wasn't until like last year that they stopped living with us. But I met Justin, who's one of my business partners, right, for TechButt Solutions and Learn Plan Profit. And I met everybody that's part of TechButt Solutions because of my decision to originally move from California to Arizona. And do I think that, and the sole reason that I did that was to go to school, and I had a girlfriend out here as well. But it's because of the action that I took. And it's not just like, okay, so I'm going to go to school and I'm going to move to a state and try to buy a house, and my life is going to play out exactly like Ricky's. That's not the case, right? I was someone that I felt that I was very driven, and I was always just curious about the different things that I was beginning to pursue. And it was because of the relationships that I built with, when it comes down to like trading, that was kind of just me. When it came down to my real estate, I met a couple different real estate agents and a couple different lenders here in Arizona that helped me out and taught me a lot. And when it came down to like investing in cars, I made a couple partnerships because I was making videos on YouTube, and I would try to help these different dealerships create content for their cars. And it was so random. There's no like exact like intention behind our original partnership. It was like they had a Lamborghini. I remember it was a Lamborghini 610 LP, and one of the guys, I made a video with one of his cars first, and he invited me a second time to make another video. And it was cool because I really enjoyed, making YouTube videos and those little edits. And yeah, and then from there, I like everything just kind of like went really well for me here. And I feel like it was the understanding that I distanced myself from being extremely comfortable in California and knowing a lot of people. And it's kind of like the incubator effect, right? I just began then to surround myself with people that I saw value in and stuff like that. So I know not everyone has that luxury, right? Not everyone can just move out. I have someone that that lived with me for a little bit, that I respect a lot, in the sense that like he grew in a very like just underprivileged family, and when he worked, he had to work to also help pay for his family's like bills and stuff like that. And I think that's amazing, right? We all start in different kind of like levels and different foundations. Some people start off way better than I did. Some people start off, unfortunately, much less than I did. But one of the biggest things is just I think the intent behind like your success, regardless if you become extremely successful in whatever it is that you are trying to pursue, is my goal was always just to one day, hopefully, be able to like have my family not have to worry about their finances. And now my parents feel extremely comfortable because although they don't necessarily rely on me 100%, they know that if one of them were to get sick, hope to God that it doesn't happen, but that I would be able to take care of them. Same thing with my future family. If I get blessed to have like my family of my own, that I worked hard enough to then be able to provide for them, and they don't. And just imagine this. Just imagine that like a kid that I have, he is starting off of a better foundation. Not better foundation, I don't want to say that, but a little bit more privileged, because of who I am, right? I'm a little bit more proactive in like technology and like my business and stuff like that. So my kid, if I do just even a part of how I think that my parents raised me, and I do that with my kid, then hopefully, if he's someone that is as motivated as any of us, that he can then one day do even better than I did, because he started off of a higher foundation. It's kind of like Trump, right? I think a lot of people, and again, I hope that you guys are not like, due to the controversial kind of just name, he started with like a loan of $1 million, and a lot of people laugh at it and stuff like that. Or even Kylie Jenner, right? That started with like a very like influential family, but they ended up being billionaires. And there's a lot of people that, regardless, right, of what they're given and being extremely privileged in the millions, stay there, right? Or don't do anything with their lives. Again, regardless if you think that it's self-made or not, I think that one of the things that I could just respect the most is like the hustle. So if you're someone that starts from a very poor family, and then, you start making $50,000 a year, and you're, and you work as hard as you can to provide a better life than your family provided for you, I think that's all that matters. It's this like just this direction. It sounds so funny, right? But then hopefully you can instill great values in your kids, that they can take the new opportunity of starting off of a family that is not poor and makes $50,000 a year, and then can then make 100,000. Or if you get really lucky and they can make more than that, then again that cycle continues, and it's that domino effect. So yeah, I mean, that's really just it. Sorry that I went in such a tangent, but I wouldn't say that going to the university, like the actual action of what I learned from there, was extremely like of benefit to my life. But I can say, because of the action that I did in taking and going to ASU, it provided a series of opportunities that I don't think would have been possible anywhere else. I think it has to do with the time and the place, and luckily, it played out the way that it did. And I was just someone that was always taking action, right? So you can't be mad at someone based off of how lucky, right, they got. But all you can really do is, I think, just like Trump and just like Kylie Jenner, is admire the hustle, regardless if you think that they're self-made or not. Or trust me, like that's 100% like not something I grew up with, of being extremely privileged in that sense. But people are so opinionated, and no one really cares, right? It's like, just do well for yourself and enjoy what it is that you do and spend it with those that you love. And that's what matters. When we talk, and especially when we talk crap and try to like justify other people's success, it's irrelevant. Like, they're billionaires or they're millionaires, and it doesn't matter what you say or do, because your opinion is, again, completely irrelevant. So I would rather focus less attention on that and focus more of like maybe what qualities did Kylie or Donald Trump have, or why did they become so successful so quick. So yeah. But yeah, thank you guys again so much for your time. Again, I really do appreciate it. We've been live for about 46 minutes. So if there's anything that I can do to work with you on a closer basis, again, my only two options are the first link, which is the free Facebook group, which is just so you can stay connected with, me and the nearly 200,000 people that we have as a part of our community. And if you see value, again, please watch my videos first on YouTube. But if you see value in my trading style, one of the things that I offer that's a little rather unique is my live trading every single day. So tomorrow at Market Open, just like I do every other day, Monday through Friday, I trade live, and you can see me buy, you can see me sell, kind of just like this, but I'm actually trading. And then I share my thought process. So if you think that, you working with me a little bit on a closer basis could be of value for you, then dedicate 5 minutes and click that second link in the description. And I would love the opportunity to work with you closer. Other than that, my only other resources are my YouTube videos and like the little blogs that we have. I want you guys all to be aware of that. If you guys begin to follow me, especially like on Instagram or on Facebook, there's a bunch of fake accounts that will try to ask you and pretend to be me and ask you for money, ask you for personal information. I never reach out to you first. So that was something that you guys, that should be a huge red flag. Anytime that you question anything that is being said, post it in the TechBud Solutions chat. It's free, and just ask and verify. I never ask for money. I never ask for personal information. I never reach out to you first. Nothing like that. So just please be aware of that. If you see anything like that, or someone being malicious, then please just share it with us, and we'll 100% take care of it. So thank you guys again for your time. Continue working hard. Continue following your dreams. Let your passion be what drives your success. Update on the headquarters. We're visiting more buildings, and we're checking out more properties, and I'm really excited. We're also going to be opening our own car dealership as well. And again, that would have not started if we didn't like actively or proactively start investing in cars. So really excited, super blessed, and I'm really looking forward to, like, maybe for those that are in Arizona that can visit us for like the grand opening and stuff like that. I think that'd be something that'd be nice. So hope you guys get some good rest, and hope you guys have an amazing and blessed week. Be safe, have fun with what you're doing, learn something new, and don't take it so serious. Just have fun with it. Learn, practice, and you have nothing but time to make money. So just learn as of right now. Thank you again, and I hope I earned your thumbs up. Take it easy, team.